I want to welcome everybody to the show today. I have comedian Ray Money on the show. I think Ray's story is very, very interesting. I think when you're looking at comedy today in society, we're looking at it from a very superficial place and position because we see what's pretty. Had a great career in banking, gave up banking, lived in a camper for 4 years, and now I think he's settled in a home because his wife probably didn't want to ride around in a camper anymore. But to
Hey,
pursue
stop putting my business in the street.
Yeah, to pursue this career in comedy. So Ray's originally from Alabama, lives in North Carolina now, and tours the Southeast. So welcome to the show, Ray.
Thank you for having me. What up, y'all? I don't know who watching it.
You know, when I first met you, how did I first meet you, by the way?
I was just kind of filling in for one other comedian, my comedian friends, Brandon Rainward. He was working with Red Squirrel at the Stardome, and he said he couldn't make it. So I was like, that's the homie. I always try to make sure, support other comics. So he said he couldn't make it. Now, at the time, I was like, all right, it sounded like a cool opportunity. So I hopped on the train from Charlotte down to Birmingham at like 3 a.m. Did the show. That's pretty much it.
Like I said, gave up a good career in banking. And, when you were thinking about doing this, what really made you make that decision and want to live in a camper for a couple of years and go on the road? But I know your wife got pregnant. I don't know if that was planned or not planned, but
I mean, it was kind of planned. Like, you just doing what you're doing. And so, you know what you're doing. It ain't kind of the result, but it ain't always planned. The RV thing actually was before actually going full time. Wife and I, we were full-time RVers for like 5 years. Tired of living day in, day out, not seeing our kids all day, just coming home, have like 4 hours, take a shower, do homework, after either dance or doing some activities, go to bed, wash, rinse, repeat until you get the weekend. So it was just never-ending cycle.
What's the internal feeling? What's the internal drive of making you go all in to be a comedian?
Man, what else you gonna do? I mean, you want to live your life. This is for me. I'm like, you're either going to live your life on doing something you have to do or what you want to do. You're going to struggle at both of them. So at the time, I was struggling at work because when I went full time, I had been in my role for like 8 years in corporate healthcare at Wells Fargo. So I was managing large corporate healthcare clients like your Pfizer's, Moderna's. When the pandemic hit, I was working almost 24 hours a day at one point because there were so many acquisitions happening. I mean, it wasn't like I was salaried. So it wasn't like my pay was going up. So in the interim, I started into a college market, which I was like, all right, if I'm going to do this, I'm going all in and at every facet. So I was already doing the clubs. I've been doing the clubs for years and, I've been able to had some success in working and opening some familiar names. So it wasn't like, that wasn't my path. I could see my path. I had opened for Matt Rife a few times, and I've opened for Tommy Davis and Dion Cole. A lot of these guys that are actively and, working heavily now in the comedy scene. So it wasn't like I didn't see myself in the same position as them. So, but I started doing the college market and then the pay I was doing enough college at the time where the pay was equivalent to my income at the bank at the time. So it was like, all right, well, it's hard going to work when, I'm making close to what I was making at the bank in like an hour or so doing like a college, like doing Penn State or I did University of Pikeville. And it was like, all right, I'm doing some of these colleges and I'm like, all right, I can make this doing what I actually love and enjoy doing. And I can do it in a short amount of time. And I don't have a boss because I'm doing everything myself. I was my own representative for the college market. So,
what do you think the toughest thing is? Because I see a lot of comedians and, and they all have the same mindset.
What you mean?
And a lot of times they chase this emotional path. And I always say there's no reason to chase the emotional path. I say build value in yourself. And if you build value in yourself, they will come.
Yeah.
What do you see out there with other people? Is it still an emotional space of trying to kind of chase a narrative and not really thinking about themselves as a comedian?
So I get what you're saying. I mean, I was a victim to it at one point as well, where, you're looking out in the comedy scene. Generally, when you have new comics pop up on the scene, especially new comics, like I ain't even senior comics, everybody's trying to figure out what's working. Everybody, it's not actually cultivating themselves, their own point of view or what they find funny. They see one thing that's working. If you're doing, I don't know, whatever it is, maybe subject matter, your subject, that happens a lot. You're talking about one thing, then you'll see numerous comics start to talk about the same subject matter that you're talking about because they think that's the thing that is actually pulling the people in.
What I say is when you chase emotions, right, you're not really thinking about yourself. If you're trying to put a square peg in a round hole because you heard some other guy saying that whatever it is, they have a completely different tone than you. This is what I don't get, the mindset, because I've been talking about this and I actually created the model. When I produced a show, I would just say, all right, here's the outline. I want to help you with the timing, and you fill in with the content and be your authentic self. If you understand tone attracts tone, right? If you understand that and you have a personality that works and you understand where that passion is coming from and where the authenticity is coming from, you're going to radiate a certain tone that people will be attracted to. So when you try to create a tone that doesn't align with your passion or your authenticity, kind of hinders people's career. Why do you think people don't understand that? Does that make sense?
People are afraid to be themselves out of, judgment or whatever it may be because of whatever maybe society may say or whatever it may be. They're afraid to be themselves. When in all actuality, there are people just like them that are afraid to be themselves. I don't know, you bald-headed, and you showcase your bald head. Everybody's not as comfortable with having a bald head, but if you're making it proud to be a bald-headed dude, but look, I wear a hat. I don't care about being bald-headed. I just be covering up because my head be cold. And my mama told me, put a hat on their head. That's what I do. But I don't feel no type of way about it. But if you feel some type of way about it, and I'm coming to the show, and you hear me talk about how I enjoy about being bald, and I give you all these facts, you're going to gravitate to me because it's a thing that you already have, and now it's almost a mantra for you. I hear a lot of comics that are talking about being with cougars or older women. All of them are not living this experience because I can tell based on the way that they speak about it. They're kind of guessing what it would be like, the experience would be. So there's holes in their story where you can pick up, it's not a real genuine story. But then when someone else tells that's actually living that life, you can see, like you said, you can see where all right, you can tell they did this because there's nuances within their story that would show, this only way you will find that out because you actually did that.
I mean, because if you understand law of attraction, and you understand that we're all connected. And this is something I don't understand, all these intellectual people. I don't think we're that creative because if you understand that and you understand tone attracts tone. And
before I say, what do you mean tone attracts tone?
Tone attracts tone. So I understand my environment. My foundation is my non-conscious. So my non-conscious has a direction, the percentage of what I'm made of. If you understand feng shui. And then based on your environment and based on what you're made of, create your sensibilities. So when you take your sensibilities and you understand who you are and what you're made of, and you convey your message to the world, and it's authentic, and it's relatable, it's entertaining, it's educational.
Yeah.
Right? Those are the three buckets. And you convey your message, people will respond to that message naturally based on how you're conveying your authenticity. When I started in comedy, it was a dinosaur model. This is 2016. And still today, people in the industry, I don't know why they haven't grabbed hold of my philosophy, because comedians will want to appease the industry instead of understanding who they are as a comic and who they are with their personality. Because if you go into the industry, they say, go gig. So if you go gig 7 days a week, and nobody knows who you are, 50 people show up at each show, and they don't even know who they're going to see. You may pull out 2 or 3 people that will be a fan out of the 7 shows each night, out of 50. What do you think the progression of growth is? That's why it's so tough, because I don't think that the comedians understand themselves enough. I mean, it is fear.
In that model, it would be, though. It would be numbers then, because if there's only 50 people there, then it's just you don't have the ratios to even pull a massive amount of people out of there because only 50 people.
I'm just using that as a rationale. I mean, it's just that's the by natural selection.
Yeah.
That's law of attraction. The more people, what I'm saying is, which we have social media today, and that's why we're so successful with social media. You have to understand who you are. You have to understand your authenticity. You have to understand how to convey that message based on your authenticity, and then the timing of that message. Because whoever your tone attracts to, they're going to communicate at a certain time. So if you understand the tone and the demographic that is attracted to you, that's the demographic you need to home in on. Because when we did this, we had a 90% female fan base. When we show up for shows, whether he was experienced or not, the fans already like him because they relate to him. Let's take a great talent that understands that. And I think there's some people who may understand that today, and they just kind of fell into it, but they don't really understand the functionality of it. I think more people would be successful, and the ones that we know that may never be successful, they will find out a lot quicker as well.
How you know they'll never be successful?
You're going to eliminate the bad customer too.
How you know they'll never be successful though?
Some of them just don't have that tone. I think we hinder ourselves. I think if we're trying to force something and you continue to force it and it doesn't align with what I'm talking about, you continue to force, and it doesn't align. Either you need to change your thinking process or you're just never going to align like you assume you want to be or you're supposed to be. It's people who are never going to understand their authenticity or never really understand who they are and who they're supposed to be. Those are the bad customers. Those are the ones that are never going to get there. But I think until you understand who you are, until you understand your authenticity, and you start conveying that through your platform or whatever it is, that's a big deal.
Thanks for letting me know I'm never going to make it. I never know. Come on, man. My show will be different. My shows are different because the times that I go on stage, I could do the same jokes, but if I feel differently, like by something that just happened off stage, I'm going to deliver my material differently. Because either if I'm mad, I've been mad on stage a few times, I'd have been sad, had people die.
I think you go with your authentic self. I mean, you are who you are. Yeah. You talk about your life. You know, that's who Ray is. I'm not saying you don't talk your authenticity, and I'm not saying, you know, you're not relatable or educational or entertaining, but because those are the three buckets. What I'm saying is you have to really, I think you have to really understand that for yourself, and you can't let fear or non-confidence limit that thought process. Like if you understand who you are as a comedian and you're kind of tiptoeing on who you are, I can teach people the right thing to do 100% of the time, but I can't teach myself the right thing to do 100% of the time because I struggle with the same things. Because I never thought I would have a podcast. I never thought I would be on camera. I never thought I would want to do content.
What made you get on camera?
I just felt like I was pushed with this narrative, you know, because my narrative's a little different. And I think it's going to teach people some stuff. You know who you are. You know what you're going to talk about. But because there's not that instant gratification or success out the gate, you might start veering a little bit. If you stay consistent with who you are, you'll beat the algorithm every time. Consistency wins. What I'm saying is don't let that fear. If you understand who you are as a comedian, you understand the message you need to give authentically and go straight, no matter good or bad, stay in that lane and you will beat the algorithm. I think that's the key to success in comedy. Don't let these challenges and these fears distract that authenticity.
I think that's what it is. Now I get it. It's the weed and the alcohol that keep these videos going. You thought it was confidence and all of that. I hit that drink. I hit the login button. What we looking at today? No, not all the time, but I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes,
yeah.
But you're right though. The fear of a comics will change. Because I'm gonna say what it is. The tiptoeing, the timidness. I could definitely see that. It changes the delivery of it. Even if you don't feel authentic about it and you feel and it resonates with people, if it doesn't come out with the authenticity that you actually genuinely feel that way because of your nervousness, you say you're timid, being timid, then it can't connect because it doesn't feel real to you. This is what you do. Sometimes people say, "Oh, this guy needs to learn how to talk. He's an idiot," or whatever. He say, "Oh, okay, I don't know you, dude, standing in the mirror with your shirt off. I don't know what you talking about." So it'd be like, I understand that I don't like everybody's comedy and I don't like everybody's movie, I don't like everybody's music, but I will listen to it. And I understand just like the same thing for me. I ain't expecting everybody to like me. I'm only looking for my friends. When I talk, we hang out, we laugh, we gonna have a great ass time when you come to life. So when I sit there, I look at it like TV. If I was on TV, I wouldn't know who's seeing it at all. I'm just doing what I'm doing, and I'm not catering to try to be this specific way. I think that's when I hear you, what you're saying is that I'm not trying to be a specific way. I'm just doing what I'm doing, getting in front of the majority, the more amount of people that I can. And then whoever actually likes what I'm doing, they gonna come and show up and they gonna hang around. But if you don't like what I'm doing, peace out. I can't even say that because the way I do my stand-up, or not even just stand-up or the commentary videos, I understand that there's like groups of people. People are going to resonate with different things. For the guys that I know, the ladies that I know from the banking community, the vernacular that I'll use when I'm speaking to that particular audience of people, because this is the topic that I'm talking about, is going to be different than I'm talking to the hood dude that know they trying to buy an eighth or something like this. This is the talk is different. The lingo is different. So I will speak. So some of my videos may have a little more intellect in them because I'm speaking to that audience of people that is a component of me. It's not the full, I guess, the full sphere of me, what I am, you know what I'm saying? So
because like how you hang out with your boys, I'm sure is a different character than how you would hang out at the bank. Experiences were authentic, so you can call back that feeling.
This is one thing I said. All of these jokes and all this content, it's something for everybody. It's a story here. You're going to have some stuff for the church people because I'm very spiritual. I try to be within my word, and that's a portion of my life that I'll speak about. And then I got the club and the street and the business and professional. So all of those, sometimes they'll connect in, but when I'm speaking about a specific topic, it's just a little bit of all of them may come out at the same time. The ladies' man, the father, all the different roles that I've carried throughout my life, the experience and the feeling that I was when I was in those experiences. I'm not doing all of that stuff right now at this moment, but it's still in there. It's a part of the experience for me. And you have to connect with that feeling for it to be of where you were when you do. If you're a plumber, you're going to know some shit about plumbing for the rest of your life. And you're able to give them the scenario in real time of what it feels like because you've been in that place. Hey, the water going to come on. When you turn it on, make sure you got that water. Otherwise, when you cut that pipe, it's going to spew out in your face because you've been in that job. But he's not actually he ain't did it in 10 years, but he know from that experience. So when he tell them and explaining the story to this other new plumber, how it's going to come out in their face, and they see it because you've already been in that space. You're just telling the experience that you had, but you're having a similar experience because this is a new plumber, or either they're going to have it or they've already had it.
Right? Through your lens.
Yeah, through your lens. I mean, you ain't got to fake it. Just go. I tell comments, if you want to talk about something, go to it. Like right now, I'm recording here live from my studio, a.k.a. the library. I tell people, I'm like, look, I do jokes about being at the library because I come to the library. Yeah. And this is an experience that, hey, if most people have been to a library at some capacity, whether it's school age to college age.
Yeah, library, you could talk about, hey, it's got Wi-Fi, they got water available.
What? I use all the free resources.
No rent.
All of them. You see in the camera right here. Use all of your free resources. Wi-Fi, DVD, they got everything here, man.
How many times have you got a weird thought in your head and you veered off Ray Money's authenticity path?
I mean, this is the thing. You try to, at times, you try to accommodate people. And then sometimes you be like, fuck that. There's no filter. This is where I'm going to talk about. You're going to get it raw. Some of it may be good. You may be mad for a second. Then you may be happy, sad, because you're getting the full unfiltered without the consideration of how you may feel. And there's no boundaries in there. So you're going to get it as raw as I choose to feel at that particular moment. As you get older, especially in stand-up, growing up in stand-up, man, I started in my 20s, and so now I'm 38, so I'm like, I'm 12 years in now, so my experiences have changed, and my wisdom has changed, so I feel differently about some things than I did in the past. Doesn't mean that it wasn't that was that, so I'm gonna feel differently now because I have more information, but now when if I need to tell this joke, I'm pulling from that life lived at that point in time, but I'm reminiscing of where you were at that particular point in your life. So to tell the story, you're telling the story not from today's point of view and how you feel now, but you're having to dig deep down into where was I in this moment of time? How did I feel when I wrote this joke 5 years ago? Because it may be a 5-year joke or a 10-year joke or from someone else, but you never heard it, so it's brand new to you. So for me to deliver it in today's thought process or the new information I receive, it will need to be adjusted based on findings of culture so that you understand that it's more relative. But the actual feeling of where I was at that point in time in my life, that's what I'm drawing from. I'm drawing from the periods of my life just as well if it was a 60s play or something of this nature. It's almost kind of like acting, but it's not like acting because I'm not doing someone else's stuff. I'm just remembering where I was when I was in that time period.
I've been asked to do voiceovers. I don't think I have a good voice, but everybody's like, you sound great. I'm like, really? So sometimes, I'm like, can you do this? So I will think actors, all right, was there a time in my life that I was in this experience where I can pull that off? And that kind of speaks to the authenticity, because if you can recall that feeling, that speaks to authenticity. I just don't think we're creative enough and have a big enough mindset to understand the whole picture of how we're all connected, being ourselves and just giving more value to ourselves. You've said on this path that you've opened up for some interesting acts like Matt Rife. That's how you say his last name, Rife. What kind of character was he?
I mean, he was cool, man. He felt like a white boy that dig black girls. He like white girls, but he cool. Like, he wear Jordans and shit like that. He was cool. I mean, we did like New Year's 2019 or 2020, like New Year's, and we did a couple other shows. I started with Ryan Davis, and I opened for Mike Epps. I mean, it's just been a lot of comics that I've met over through the years through my journey, and a lot of this, man, my early journey, it was just, I got a chance to meet a lot of people because I put the hustle there, man. I didn't turn down any gig, paid, unpaid. I just enjoyed doing the art form, and I was enjoying learning the art form. The more comics that you meet, you see the different styles of comedy. You'll see people one-liners, and everybody has especially as comics, they have huge egos to say, oh, I'm funnier there. But the more you do this, the more comics that you meet, you see the different styles, and you see how your style, you can't even compare it to someone else's that is working at a high level that has a different style than you, because it's just different. It's like music.
Mm-hmm.
If someone enjoys a ballad or someone enjoys rap music, two different people, they're not going to like the same music, but they're going to both give you the same, hey, this guy was much better. No, I love this rap song, it's much better. Where I find myself as a comic, because I like different types of music, you find it in my acts. So I may do like one-liners, or I'm more animated in some storytelling and impressions. So that's one of the things where I get a chance to see Mike Epps live, Vocals Rim, to see him way he develops, or even just watching a Chris Rock develop a set, to see these things just by watching that you could see that on TV or online, and you just see the finished product, but you see the process, and you see how each comic differs from there. But they all have large audiences of people. So Chris Rock's going to be bigger than someone that's not as high a profile at that particular time, but they're going to still have an audience of people because they've cultivated whatever it is that they're doing. I work with John Reap. John Reap, he's a cool dude, man. He's very calm, very, very peaceful, but he had his energy brought backstage, and then his energy brought on stage. You could see where he lit up and the people lit up. It was a very different style, different group of people that came out to see him versus, like I said, Mike Epps.
John Reap, he probably had a white loaf bread white audience.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? But that's his tone. That's who his tone is going to resonate with, that type of tone.
I don't know how I fit in this pit. This is where you say, hey, your tone, I'm working in all of these audiences.
If you think about that, all right, what is my lens for this audience? So if you are opening for someone that has a pure source tone and audience that they sold tickets for, I think you have to look at, all right, where do I deliver within this tone of people? Let's say if I have 10 jokes, I've timed out 10 jokes. I got this banking experience over here. I've got this wife experience over here. I've got this experience over here. I think smart comedians, if they can look at that and plug into that, who are professionals, can handle that because they can pull from their stories that are universally relatable, because it's all about relation.
That makes sense.
That's how you have to look at that room. If you're put into that room, you're not going to be for everybody, but at least you delivered some relatable, content that they laughed at.
I mean, I hope I'm for everybody. I think that's the thing. Like you said, the tone. I think going back and forth where I would do white audiences, black audiences, church audiences, colleges, or hood dope boy room where they. And I can tell you exactly the feeling that I had when I was there. And I know because it's true that you're going to have, or at least in a sense when I'm building the jokes, in a sense, some of it I may change just for the funny, just because it's just funnier. I'll pull it, but I know this is going to resonate to you because it is true. And it's almost undeniable.
Well, the piece that's missing, like when you're plugged into that, your content is not being solicited with your tone to sell those tickets. If you put your tone together in content and then you put that out to the world, and that's why I keep telling you it's so important to build your own foundation, your own audience. That audience can predetermine who buys tickets. So
Gotcha.
When they sold tickets for John Reap, he's the tone that they presented and conveyed to the public to sell those tickets, and that's the result. So if you have a big enough number to express Ray Money's tone and put that out to the world, you can predetermine what your demographic is going to be that shows up at that show. You just got to have a big enough demographic, sell tickets. I think you just got to keep putting more value into who you are, because the more eyeballs you get, it's all about bringing impressions.
Middle class kind of covers a huge demographic of people. I think mine is that's where I lie. You don't have as many resources as everybody, but you got some. You got some where, but you're struggling. You're struggling at the same time, but you get highs where you're able to experience some luxury, and you're able to experience some lows.
And maybe that's the misconception of being a entertainer. If you've been in the corporate world, you don't cater to your environment. You make the environment your environment.
That's exactly what it is. I used to wear ties and suits, and for a long time, my wife was like, you don't never wear ties. So I ain't never wear another one, because I was wearing them for years, day in and day out. And to a point where I knew it was getting different. I started wearing the Jordans, and I ain't really wear, they were flea market Jordans, by the way. But anyway, I still wear them to work, feet hurt and all. The pressure in the jobs, they add these rules in there. And you can feel it. Your dress code, we're going to let you wear jeans on Friday. Today, because you're a grown ass person. You going to let me wear jeans on Friday? That's a very, and there's no reason. I'm in a call center. Ain't nobody gonna see my jeans are behind this desk all day. I'm the only person see these jeans, but it was that was the conforming to be able to maintain the job. I know a lot of comics, they get dressed up on stage, they put on suits, especially the back comics. They put on suits and they get it red. You gonna get this T-shirt sometimes. If I feel like dressing up, cool, but you gonna get what I'm wearing, whatever I choose to wear with. My shoe may be dirty. You gonna get these jokes.
What's a guy from Alabama look like?
Hey, man,
growing up in Alabama, what's his style?
And look, it's different, man. Everybody got their own swag, and I'm not gonna put mine on Alabama. I can't generalize that. Hey, It's some people that's in the fashion. They fresh, man. I ain't gonna lie. Alabama got some of the coolest people. They're creative, man. Some of the best comics come out of Alabama. Some of the best people come out of Alabama.
There's a lot of talent come out of Alabama.
If anybody's from Alabama, they've had a considerable amount of struggle. And especially depending on your class level, of course. If you have fluency, you got money. You got some things were easier than others, but I think the struggle makes the creativity.
Now, what about mom and dad? I mean, mom and dad, what did your mom and dad do when you grew up as a kid?
My dad he was in the Army Reserves, so he was in the military. He got deployed a few times. He was a truck driver. I got older parents. And my mom, she worked at a shirt factory early. So when they was like making sewing and do stuff, and then she worked Lockheed Martin as a missile tech. So she went from shirt factory to missile tech. She studied. I watched her hustle, study at night while she was doing that. I lived differently than most other kids I growing up with older parents. My parents came from a worker's background, blue collar. You gonna work. That's what you gonna do. I used to have to pick up pecans. My grandmother had pick up pecan trees, and that's how I got my school clothes and stuff. So changed my mindset as a kid. I'm not gonna spend all my money on clothes because I saw how hard I felt how hard I had to work to generate money to buy clothing.
You really have some passion for being a comedian, and especially riding around in a Winnebago for 4 years. Right now your family is your wife, and you have your little son. Any other kids?
Me and my wife, we got 3 kids. We got 2 from relationships prior to. We got 1 together, but we all, we all one family.
Where are they gonna find you?
Man, comedianraymoney.com. Just go there, click on the booking spot. We gonna come through. I do it all. It don't matter where you gonna have your show at. If you got the money, I'm coming. It could be in a laundromat. I done did backyards. I done did civic centers and auditoriums, theaters. When you name it, poolside. If you got it, we coming. You just go on there, click, or you just go on my social media at Comedian Ray Money on everything. So
Comedian Ray Money.
Comedian Ray Money.
I think you got an interesting story, and I think if you just stay on that path, don't let the confidence lessen.
It ain't the confidence, it's the money. If the check ain't rolling in good, we're going to switch this shit up.
If you have something, stay positive, keep those blinders on. I think you can be successful.
Man,
and you're only 38. I mean, comedy doesn't have a number. You know what I'm saying? That you can be 70 and be a comedian today's time.
I'm in it for a while. I don't know if I'm going to push to 70, man. I don't know.
You 70 doing content, doing jokes?
Look, this is the thing. I believe that I could do stand-up at 70.
Yeah.
But it would be very different in the way I would do it, because now the places I go to, I don't mind I get heckled, just from years of doing bars with drunk people and you name it. I've done biker gangs, white biker gangs, performing in front of them, to it's a variety of audiences that you take a beating in from. Or you said doing these gigs, you're learning from it.
Yeah.
So it would have to change where, I don't want to take the beating every night when I'm 70, man. It's hard because sometimes, my mouth's slick. I don't want to say something slick. Now I got to fight this young dude and I'm 70.
The comedian that I laughed at the most, who do you think that would be?
Let me say, I don't know. Let me think. Listen to you. I don't know. You a little different. Yeah. I heard some of your music.
It's going to be tough, never thinking.
You probably like the Dick Gregory. Not just playing. Let me think. It's got this for me, for you. You're very cerebral, so you have it's got to be someone with that has smart jokes. I guess they have more intelligence in their comedy. A thinking man's. So let's see who would fall into that. How old are you, John?
32.
You're liars, so okay, you like liars. Come on, man, we looking at you. Everybody looking at you.
You know I laughed at the most? Red Fox.
Red Fox? Okay.
Red Fox, favorite comedian. Sanford & Son was my favorite show.
He's smart. He's witty. So I get it. Yeah. You like the blue?
Quick. I used to laugh at him. He was a mess. And I don't know if anybody's told you too, you look like John Sally's little cousin.
Hey, you an asshole. Don't start now. We going I look like John. You look like a transparent John Sally. You like a carbon copy. Now look.
Take your hat off.
Look.
Take your hat off. Y'all tell me if he looks like John Sally a little bit.
Yeah, look. as a kid, my cousin used to say I was real skinny, and my cousin would say I looked like Chappelle. And at the time, if you look at pictures now, if I did, you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, he looked just like Chappelle, like, as a little kid. But this is
Yeah.
before he got money and rich and famous, and I used to hate it back then, but now I'm like, all right, I'll take it.
Well, Ray, I appreciate you coming on the show. This has been comedian Ray Money, and I'm John Edmonds Kozma, CEO of Bang Productions, owner of the TikTok Live Creator Network Agency, and host of the Unimpressed Podcast. We'll see you next time.